And now, Deep Thoughts with BlossomingSun and JessPlayin.
What did the hippie say when he saw the messy board game?
What did he
Peace
say?
out.
Oh, god damn it, Jess. It's fine. I was gonna ask you what. Hi, I'm BlossomingSun.
I'm JessPlayin. Off to a glorious start.
It's fine. You know what? I thought it would be interesting if I just interjected, but I didn't interject.
You know what he said?
What did he say?
Peace out. Because it's like peace and piece of a board game. Anyway, all the board games. Come on, let's go.
Welcome to our, is it inaugural? Is that the correct word for?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's the very beginning.
Welcome to our inaugural podcast. It's Deep Thoughts. And we're Deep Thoughts talking about deep thoughts.
Yep. It's Deep Thoughtception.
Do you get it? It's Deep Thoughtception. You're correct.
Leonardo DiCaprio's in here somewhere. I'm pretty sure.
Bless
Find
his
him.
soul.
You win nothing.
You win nothing. You can get his little spinning top thing. You can. There you go. That kind of looks like a board game piece.
It's really just a spinny top. I don't know why I got so excited about it. It's literally just a regular top.
But but it spins forever. It's not a regular top if it spins forever. Jessica.
True. Right. I'm sorry. It was a law-defying top. I'm kind of like anything I try to buy from Forever 21. Anyway, we're going to talk about board games. I tried so hard, lady,
and you got
to find like board game, and in the end, it didn't even matter.
It didn't even matter.
I was like, I'm going to put all these really obscure, cool tabletop games, so I seem like one of them cool folks, and instead, I sound like I'm from the 50s, because my favorite game of all time is Scrabble.
Oh, so, okay. Speaking of Scrabble, I have a story for everyone. So this is the first episode, and for each episode, we have not just audio, we also have like a YouTube video, and the YouTube video is just us talking, but the background changes, and I wanted fucking Scrabble to be in the background, but no, all I found was good photos of Monopoly, which is the shittiest game on the planet. You may unsubscribe now. I don't give a shit. You don't even have to. You can just leave. You can just leave.
Unsubscribe.
We're coming hard in the paint, starting off, just letting you know Monopoly is a shit game. It's shit. It's bullshit.
I asked, like, do you want to talk about Monopoly? And you're like, no. My first story involves my deep-seated hatred for Monopoly. Did Monopoly, like, kill your family?
No.
Because I wouldn't doubt it. It takes so long.
I love board games. I love them. I adore them. They're one of my favorite things. I'm obsessed with them. I'm going to Gen Con with JessPlayin this year. This will be the first year I'm ever going to Gen Con. I'm super fucking excited. If you don't know, it's in Indiana. Gen Con is a board game convention. It is the oldest one. It is amazing.
That's 4 days of gaming.
It's 4 days of nothing but tabletop. That's like every weekend at my house. If I had 4 days off instead of just 2.
I mean, that would be the same if I had friends.
It's sad, but oh, the feels. So, okay, the reason why I hate Monopoly is because my parents have shitty taste in board games. For all of my life, at least the first 18 years of my life, I had 4 games to choose from. Number 1 being Monopoly, and that was mostly the game that we played because all of us could play it as one. Number 2 is Mancala, but Mancala is a African-based game, and it's only for 2 people. It's very fun, but it's only for 2 people. So with a family of 5 people. 5 people.
You gotta take turns.
Yeah, you gotta take turns.
And then one's just left out.
Yeah. And then we didn't even play Scrabble when I was young. Jess, I didn't even get to play Scrabble.
That's sad.
The other games that we had were also 2-player games. So when all 5 of us were there and the power would go out or anything, we lived very poorly, but the power did go out quite often. And whenever that would happen, my mom would light like a bunch of candles and then we'd just play Monopoly until it was time to go to bed. And
that is the saddest childhood story I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I've had some childhood.
My favorite game up until I was 18 years old was Connect 4 because I'm really good at that game because that's all I've ever played in my life. I have probably played thousands of Connect 4 games, and it's quite amazing, and I love it. Also, Uno, I did play that, but only when my family's friends would come over, and they would bring Uno. I don't know why my parents would never buy Uno. It was probably because they're evil. And they just
See,
wanted
my
to
dad
play
and I
Monopoly.
played Uno like no other. So, like, I have very fond memories of Uno.
That's really
And then
nice.
my mom liked Scrabble a lot. So I would play that with both of them.
Yeah, I would play
But we had,
Connect
like, our
4.
own in-house rules for Scrabble. It was so
Oh,
good.
that
Also,
sounds like
Clue, although
fun.
Clue is not... Clue is fun, and I still love Clue. It's on my top 3, but it's really difficult to play with 2 people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
It's so difficult.
definitely. It's kind of like there's certain games where it's just meant to have more than 2 people. Like you can technically play with 2, but really it's better if it's 3 or more.
Like, I feel like, did you ever get to play Pretty Pretty Princess?
Nope, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
I never even
So
played Candyland, Jess.
You've never played Candyland?
No.
See, I didn't play Candyland much as a child.
I've never
but
played
I've
it.
played it with other children since then.
I've never played Chutes and Ladders. I fucking hate Monopoly. Did I mention that? I fucking hate Monopoly. Anyways,
I think you did.
I think it was.
But yeah, it's no longer being produced, so you can no longer. Oh, we should find Pretty Pretty Princess. See if we can find it, and then we should play it.
We'll just take it to Gen Con and
Right.
be like, look, everyone, we've amassed a national treasure.
Wikipedia trying to make it sound like a much more intense game than it actually is. It's a turn-based game. Initially, the players spin to see who moves first, and then play continues clockwise. Players spin the spinner to advance around the game board while attempting to collect a complete set of jewelry by landing on spaces associated with each piece. So the idea is basically there's a black ring that belongs to no color set, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to go around the board and collect all the jewelry that is the same color as the jewelry you currently start off with. So you start off with like blue, and then you try to get all the pieces of jewelry. I played this with my dad, who had to then wear earrings and stuff throughout it. So props to Papa Blaine for like actually dressing up like a pretty princess. It was so fun. I loved Pretty Pretty. I was the reigning champ. I'm just gonna say that, not to brag, but
That's
that's the
amazing.
closest I'll ever get to royalty.
That's so crazy. I've never
yeah,
heard.
it's pretty fun.
There's a lot of games that I didn't get to play because my parents were not into playing board games. They were much more into like. I didn't know this. My parents are very much into Legos. So that'll be my personal story for this episode. My parents didn't like board games, so I was very deprived as a child. But I could be a baron of Legos. I could have my own Lego store. My mother has purchased so many. She has the London Bridge to scale. Like she has the Eye of Sauron. She has like, oh my god, any architectural wonder that you think could be made into Legos, she has attempted. She has gone to Lego conventions without her children. This is how much she loves Legos. So, from a very early age, we have always had an enormous amount of Legos. My father built us a Lego table, like an actual table made out of Legos that he glued together so that we could build Legos onto the table and just create whatever we wanted. It was absolutely batshit insane. It was amazing. But I was not rich, though I may not be rich in board games. I was rich in Legos. But now I'm very
You built a home in your heart.
I did. But now I'm very
Legos.
much a rich in board game person and not rich in Legos. I'm not.
Like, I'm gonna be real honest. Like, you have way more board games than me.
You know what?
I've got a very small
That's
collection.
because you are a normal human being that has willpower and is able to make smart purchasing decisions. Whereas my husband has no willpower and will cave to any sort of pressure. I don't even want to think of how much we will purchase when we go to Gen Con. But it is going to be a lot. It will probably be the most expensive trip that we've ever made, and just because there is the likelihood of purchasing board games.
Question.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for me to make a fake board game and sell it to Joe at a high rate?
It has to be a good one. He's going to ask
It has
how
to be a
much
good
it's
one.
been play tested. He has many questions.
A lot.
Okay. He's been burned.
I can say a lot to a lot of things.
Okay.
I'm like 21 Savage that way.
Are you going to be like Peter Molyneux?
Yeah.
Do you know who Peter Molyneux
Just like
is?
that.
He's
Yeah.
fucking awful. I also... Two things that I really hate, Monopoly and Peter Molyneux. I just want to tell everyone, there's a very easy way to win Monopoly. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about how horrible this game is, because it's so easy.
Well, here's the thing. I just think we should change the title of the episode from episode 1 Tabletop Fun to episode 1. These are a list of my 10 least favorite things.
It's
One,
not...
Monopoly. 2, Peter Molyneux.
I don't have many other hatreds besides those two things, Jess. I don't have very many things that I hate. It's mostly just Peter Molyneux and Monopoly holding my heart ransom with hatred. And they're just like, remember how much you hate Monopoly.
It just seems like you might think that I have like a book of grudges. Like I don't have a death note of like things. I don't like go home at night and just be like, well, putting that on the list, and then I take out my book and I write it.
You're like, oh, that thing that person said today, they're on the burn list.
They're on the list. I'm not Michael Weston. Like, there's no burn list. All right. Okay, hit it. Hit me with why you hate it.
Okay. Number 1, it's far too long. We'll talk about... I actually have kept my... We're going to talk about our favorite board games, but let's just, like, break down how terrible Monopoly is at this point in time. Monopoly is far too long.
Roast Monopoly.
And the entertainment value of Monopoly is nil. It is absolutely nothing. It is...
If I didn't want to be able to buy a house, I would just live my current life.
We would literally, as millennials, this is literally... Like, it's cute that people that are baby boomers thought that this was, like, a fun game. Capitalism, the fun game, where it's like, oh, crush your friends and enemies by playing this game, because it's just a sweet dream and everyone will just get a full-time job and be able to purchase a home. So that's really nice that you guys just think capitalism's a fun dream. But number 1, okay, it is literally way too long. Number 2, it's all based on chance. There's literally no strategy. The reason why there's no strategy is because once you have certain properties and you've developed them, it's just a matter of time. It's literally just a matter of time. So I'm going to give you, Jess, if you don't know, I'm going to give you the 5 ways to win Monopoly. Number 1, never save money.
Hit me.
Never save money.
Already doing that in my real life.
Never save money. Spend as much as you can. You'd never, never want to hold on to money. You want to spend as much as you can buying as many properties as possible. You want to buy as many properties. You never want to turn your nose up at the little small ones at the beginning. You want to buy everything except utilities. Fuck utilities.
So
fuck them. Fuck utilities.
Is this just Slumlord the game?
Probably.
Like I feel like this is just Slumlord the board game.
Probably. Yeah. But number 1 is never save your money. Number 2, develop properties as aggressively as you can. Just purchase all of them. Develop them as much as you can, because the more that you have developed, you may go bankrupt at certain times, but that's okay because you own the properties. They're not going to be able to buy anything if you have it all. And eventually they're going to land on them, and eventually you're going to get out of debt, right? So number 3, the number 1 way to win the game is to buy the orange and red properties, because those are the ones that are statistically what they're going to land on the most. So you want to focus on those. It's what you're looking for, in the words of capitalism, is the highest ROI, or return of interest, which makes Monopoly sound terrible because it is terrible, Jessica.
And at the end, you get to read an Ayn Rand novel. That's the reward.
The only other thing that I can tell you is later as the game goes on, if you get in jail, just stay there. Literally just stay there, because you can't roll if you stay in jail. And if you stay in jail, you can't land on other people's property. It's fucking genius. So it's literally teaching you to be a criminal. I'm just letting you know this is a terrible game. It has terrible morals. It has a terrible premise. And it's just chance. It's literally just whoever lands on the best ones first and is able to purchase them. So
mine is just, I just don't like it. and it upsets me. Like, I played it a couple times. The last time I played Monopoly, I had bought an The Legend of Zelda Monopoly, and he wanted to play it.
Aww.
So we were playing it, and I got very aggressively upset that he was taking all of my money. So he took all of it. And so I wrote on a napkin that was next to me, "Will work for food," because I had no money. And then he took the last of my money and my properties, and I might have thrown it across the room and said, "Just take your blood money." Like, I was really aggressive. Monopoly turns me into a different person.
It's a terrible game. It's far too long.
It's worse than a Ouija board, because a demon definitely appeared that day. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I can't deal with it.
I wouldn't be surprised. So let's talk about some nice things, like games that we enjoy. Let's talk about things
Scrabble.
that we... Oh, you're going to talk about Scrabble first? Well, let's switch off. So, Jess, what's your... Are you going to... You don't have to list them in, like, order of, like, most loved to least loved. You can just talk about whichever one you want to
That's how discuss. I was going to do it.
Okay, all right. We'll go with it, then. We'll do that. Let's do that.
Okay, so are we doing top 3 or top 5?
How about you go with yours, and then I'll go with mine, and we'll just see who runs out. You'll go first, and then I'll go, and we'll just switch it off. Because I only have 4, but if you have 5 and you start, you can end it as well.
All right.
You can be the beginner and the finisher.
I've got games that are definitely my favorite, and then I had some ones that I thought were interesting, but I'm just going to do games that are definitely my favorite. So 1, Scrabble. Love it. I love Countdown. Like, 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown is one of my favorite shows. Anything where you take letters and you unscramble them to make words, I'm there. Like, I'm at...
It's like a little mind puzzle for you. You're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like the coffee of games.
There you go.
2 is definitely going to be, and this is silly, but Clue. Makes me feel like a detective. Although, I've always wondered with Mr. Body, like, that just seems like, yeah, he was definitely the one who was going to die. It's like, naming someone Candy. There's like a 90% chance they're going to be a stripper.
I agree.
3, I would say, is a game called Red Dragon Inn.
Red Dragon Inn. Oh, I've heard of this. Isn't this a drinking game?
Yes.
Oh,
so
bitch.
It's drinking and gaming, my 2 favorite things. So
God.
You're basically adventuring companions, kind of a D&D style.
That's why we're
friends. Go into a dungeon after killing monsters.
Okay.
They're healed up and they're ready to party. So you drink, gamble, and you roughhouse with your friends.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you can play stuff like Deirdre the Priestess, and there's like an ogre that you can play, I think, in one of the expansions. I really like Fiona. She's called Fiona the Volatile, and I love her to death.
Fiona the Volatile. That's fancy.
4, Guess Who? Because I love gossiping.
Oh my god. Oh my god. My friend, I used to go over to my friend's house and play Guess Who, and I was so bad at it because for some reason, even though I'm so creative, it's just like
you gotta hit general, like hit the general stuff, like is it a man or a woman, and then you knock out.
See, that would have never occurred.
They have glasses. Like, you gotta go big.
Yeah.
You gotta go to the big stuff and then knock out big things. Like, oh, how many people are on here statistically with long hair? Okay, well, I'm gonna ask if they have long hair, and then I'm gonna knock out a huge amount. Yeah. It's pretty easy once you get the formula, but it's so much fun. And then finally, I played a game with, called Suro. With my dad when I was growing up, and I actually loved it. It's called The Way of the Path. It's a tile-based board game. So essentially what you do is you place down tiles. And
this is the dragon one. I have this.
It is the dragon.
It's the dragon one. I know what you're talking about. Okay, continue talking about it. I was just like, oh, okay.
It's just really fun, and it's weirdly soothing. It kind of reminds me almost like a Zen garden in a way. Like, you're just putting tiles down to create a path.
Oh, it does remind me of a Zen garden.
It's competitive, but it's not like competitive in a way where you're really getting into it. It's just really, really soothing. Yeah. I used to play that a lot when I was younger.
It was very satisfying being able to fill up the whole board if you could. It's also cool because you can play with up to 8 people. It's like you can have up to 8 people on a board, and then it gets absolutely fucking crazy. But it's just so neat. It's just really neat. I like it.
Exactly.
It's cool.
It's just really gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
But it's also just really... It's a fun game.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
For sure.
Then I had a couple honorable mentions, which were essentially Ascension, the board game. It's a deck building board game where you basically have a board
Ascension.
and you put cards down and you fight monsters.
Huh.
The main game can be played with 2 to like 6 people, I think, and it's really fun and it's super easy. And then another honorable mention to Captain Sonar, which I played at Gen Con with Bluebirds Fly last year, and it's basically Battleship but with more stress
Oh God.
and
Oh.
just like emotional
So
trauma.
can I tell a sweet story about Battleship? Because
Yes,
okay, so
I ship it. I Battleship it.
oh yeah. So when Joe and I were first getting into like okay, when we first got married, we wanted to be able to do more things together. And we didn't really have a lot of money to be able to play like video games together because we would each have to purchase a copy. So we
Yeah.
started buying these little travel size board games. And so like Connect 4, which is oh my god, it's so good.
The
It's
reigning
just
champ over
like
here.
it's so good. But it was a set of 3 and it was Connect 4 and then there was Backgammon which I had no fucking clue how to play. And then there was Battleship. And so we would take one of those out to on our dinner dates and we would play them together. And we would just like set it up on the table. It was like this little travel size one. It was so cute. It held all of this stuff because it was magnetic. So you could just like leave it there while you were eating and then you would just like slowly play with each other. It was so nice. Oh, I miss that. I was really terrible at
Just bring it
Battleship.
back.
I know. I don't even know where it is. I have no idea. We have evolved from simple mind games, Jess. We've
Oh my
evolved
god.
far
I'm
beyond.
sorry, I didn't know you were Pokemon. Like,
If Blossoming Sun evolved, it would be into basic bitch. So that's what I would evolve into.
I've already evolved into that. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I
Well,
need.
congratulations. I'm almost being level 16 or being level 16. I don't know when Pokemon evolve. It's been so long. I'm quite
Yeah,
old.
I can't. I'm sorry. I just lost major nerd points as well, but I don't know. I don't know when. I wasn't actually really like I couldn't do Pokemon as a kid. Like I
Pokemon.
just wasn't.
Yeah, I played
I
it.
watched it a lot, and then it was just a super aggressive. My dad was like, "This is cartoon cockfighting." So
Oh man, he's not wrong though. Like that's exactly what
he
it is.
isn't.
Who?
That is exactly what it is. They just didn't want to put that on the brand.
No,
Like people
absolutely,
wouldn't.
absolutely. They were just like, no,
Let's
we're going too
go.
far.
Cartoon cockfighting? Like no, no one would buy that. Cartoon cockfighting, go! Like everyone on their phone. Just no,
Oh,
wouldn't have taken off as much.
no, definitely not for sure. But yeah, I never actually beat Pokemon until I was like in my mid 20s. I got it when I was young. I got the Pikachu version, the yellow version. My brothers got the normal ones, which were red and blue. And then I got yellow. I did not know that it was different from theirs, but it was. It was very
Yeah.
different. And Pikachu, I got stuck on Cinnabar Island. I don't know how the fuck I got stuck there because then I played it in my mid 20s and I was like, wow, this is really easy. Why was I so fucking dumb? But it was probably because I was, I don't know, a child. But my brothers beat theirs and they're like 6 years younger than me. It's fine. I'm not scarred by that at all. It's okay. Oh, I was like 12. Why was it so hard for me? It's fine. Whatever. Now I have my list of 5 favorite games. You chose
Yes.
really sweet classic games. And like, that's really adorable. I feel bad because like mine are not classic games. Like Connect
Why
4
would you
is
feel
there.
bad about
Okay,
that?
so Connect 4 is there.
You know I'm the grandma. Like I'm like I surprised I don't
you
just
are a
have Warriors
librarian,
originals.
so I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Well, not really, but I have one of those degrees.
I have a degree as a librarian, but I'm not employed as a
But
librarian.
they don't want me. They saw me and they were like, "Nah, not fam."
So, okay, my only classic board game that I enjoy is Connect 4. My grandmother and my great grandmother taught me it, and that was one of the 4 games that I was playing when I was a child. Because until I was like 18, I didn't play anything but Monopoly, Connect 4, Mancala, and I forget the 4th one. But regardless, Connect 4 was where it was fucking at. That's the only one that mattered. All the other ones were shit. I mean, Mancala is kind of fun. That's the only game my mom would play with me other than Monopoly, and that's a terrible decision on her part. But
Yeah, no.
so Connect 4 can stay at the top because I'm one of the grand champions. Not really. I don't know if I have looked up to see if there is a Connect 4 championship plaything, but from what I could tell, it only happens like once a year, and it's not a big deal. So
you
fine.
Should do it though, even if it's not a big deal.
Well, the thing is that Connect 4 is created in such a way where the first person will always lose. You can have perfect games, but you typically don't want to do the moves that lead up to a perfect game, meaning that there's a complete draw, because no one wins. Like, no one scores a point if it's a draw. So you don't want to do that. And then if you are the first person, you run a disadvantage. So when I play Connect 4, I always let people go first. And then sometimes I'll lose, sometimes on purpose. And then when I lose on purpose, I'm like, oh, you did so good. And then I'll go second and I'll beat them in like 5 moves. And I'll be like, suck it. It's fine. So Connect 4, number 1. Number 2 is Zombicide. I'm going to go with 5 since you chose 5 because I have 5 that I like. So I'm just going to choose all 5 of mine. So Zombicide is another one. You can play up to, well, it actually is a really interesting game. You can play 4 people, but you can't play less than 4. You can technically play 1, but then that's a sad solo game and it's really meant for cooperative. You'll notice that all the games after Connect 4 are all mostly cooperative games except for 1. And that's because I realize now I'm too competitive and I will break a bitch. I will break a bitch. I'm too competitive. I should not play competitive games with other people. It is a bad idea. So you'll see at Gen Con, I will get angry because Joe will make rash decisions and I will fight him and probably lose because I get too angry. I get far too angry. And so number 2 is Zombicide.
We're gonna have to break out like Suro just so you can play it to calm down.
There we go.
And then get back to the thing.
Yeah.
Zombicide, I haven't actually ever played it, but it looks fascinating when I've seen it played.
So you get to choose. You can buy heroes. So essentially the base game comes with these 6 set heroes, which are really great characters. They all have really great powers and everything, but you can buy like additional ones. There's a lot of expansions. It's a really fun game because it's completely cooperative. It's, as I like to describe it, as D&D light. And so it's like a very simple version of D&D. There's still a lot of rolling for combat, rolling for saving your armor rolls and everything like that, rolling for spells and all that jazz. So there is a lot of rolling involved, but it's fun because it's completely cooperative. You're all going for the same objectives, and you kind of get to have a slightly different version of, well, first off, there's a bunch of campaigns, so you can play different campaigns each time, and you can even go through a whole quest system, which is like several campaigns in a row that build up to a story, and then past that, you get to pick a different character each time, so you can as many characters as you have, you can play a different one each game, so it's really neat.
Is this French? Is this by a French company? Because I've noticed a lot of their website is in French.
So I play the Zombicide Black Plague. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So I play Black Plague.
It's Guillotine. They have all like the rule books. Yeah. They have all the rule books for the different campaigns that you can do, which is actually pretty cool.
They actually have, because this game is so popular, they actually sell this game in like 12 different languages. It's crazy. So they have it in all different languages. And when you purchase the character cards, it actually comes with the English ones and then all the other ones too. So we have like all these extra character cards that are in crazy different languages. Like so many different ones. It's really cool though. It's neat. But yeah, it's got a lot of randomization. It's really fun. I just really like it. So Zombicide's number 2. I also really like it because my husband really likes it, and it's a cooperative game, so we can play it together and not get angry at each other. I realized when we started getting angry at each other for competitive games, we needed to kind of find something around that.
So now you can just be cooperatively angry at each other?
Yeah, exactly. So that leads me to my newest favorite game of all time, which is Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. So Zombicide Black Plague it's a game that's been out for a couple years. I really enjoyed that one. Prior to Zombicide, I really enjoyed playing Catan, but then I would get too angry. So now we don't play Catan. And we actually threw away Munchkin because we had problems. We were going to get divorced.
You threw away Munchkin because you had...
we actually, well, I didn't throw it away. I gave it away because that would be a waste of a board game. But
Yeah, I was like,
bless the people that took it, because that's a terrible game. I almost got divorced. I'm not. I'm kidding. But it's like a terrible game. Munchkin doesn't have enough rules. My husband, we'll talk about this at a different time, perhaps later on, when we come back from Gen Con, and I'll talk about the rule stickler. But he's the utmost rule stickler, and so no game is fun with him. You'll learn, Jess. Oh, I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, I'll learn. It doesn't sound like I'll enjoy it much. Have you met me? Like,
you're kind of like the Lone Ranger. Your personality is like,
I like
and
the
then
Lone Ranger.
you were talking about like how you and your mom make house rules for your games and stuff. And
oh yeah,
it's like, oh, that's a sweet dream to have house rules. That's really sweet to play with variants and stuff. Do you play with variants with Uno?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Precious
Depends
thing.
on who I'm
Do you
playing with.
score when you play with Uno?
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, bless you. Bless you, you precious soul. So, my third favorite is Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. That's the first game and it's semi-cooperative, because it's like Betrayal at House on the Hill, which is what my new favorite game used to be, and then they came out with the Baldur's Gate version of it, which is much more cooperative. So, have you ever played Betrayal?
No.
So you can play up to 6 people or 5 people. I can't remember. They say they're 5 or 6. But you go through this haunted house and you're discovering the rooms of it. And each person is a different character. But at some point in the game, you make a roll and it triggers someone becoming possessed. And it's random each time. And that person then gets extra abilities. And there's different campaigns. There's 50 different campaigns that you can do. So it's like so much difference each time depending on what item you're holding and what room you entered when the roll happened. It depends. So it's really interesting. But Baldur's Gate is nice. It's a better version of the regular Betrayal, because it's a lot more balanced. Everyone has like a good character. Because in the first one, it was just humans. In the Baldur's Gate version, it's like elves and barbarians, and everyone has like skills that they can actually use rather than just their traits. Yeah. So it's fun because it's normally cooperative in the Baldur's Gate version as well. It's not so much like there's a traitor in your midst and you're trying to figure out what the fuck to do. But it's just really neat. It's like a really cool game. Joe actually just bought me because he knows that I love playing. I love Betrayal because I love being both on the winning side. Well, I like being on the good side, and I really like being on the evil side. Because I really like being...
Anti-hero?
I like being the traitor because I like seeing my friends struggle against my power. Is that fucked up to say? Is that fucked up? Like, I like seeing my friend... No, it's like in a sweet way. I like seeing
In a sweet way, I like to see you struggle against my power.
I like seeing my friends come together and see how smart they are as a group.
Oh my god, you're Michael Scott?
Oh my god, I like seeing people overcome obstacles. And it's
he's just really looking out at the rest of the office, and they're all like banding together, and he's like, "Oh, I think that's great." That's what you're Michael Scotting everyone in Baldur's Gate.
I just really like it. It's anyways, it's a fun game, and I like seeing my friends struggle and win. So I don't get upset if I lose, but I normally don't. Like, every time I've played the traitor, I win. So it's just, that's how the cookie crumbles. If that's something that Michael Scott would say, I'm not sure. I mean,
I'm sure
it's been so long since I've seen The Office. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is Nemesis, which is the brand new game that I just got. And it is semi-cooperative. What?
But not so much.
Nemesis is like extremely expensive. Also, my husband has spent over $2,000 on Zombicide, so let's just to give you an idea of why I said life would be expensive when we go to Gen Con. He has spent over $2,000 on a single board game. On a single board game, Jess. It's fine.
So is Nemesis the one that was Kickstarted?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Or is that a different one?
It's so great. It is Alien. It's Alien, the board game. And you go around a ship, and you're trying to get back home and you're trying to make sure that a couple things are done. There's different objectives that you can do. So you can either play it completely cooperatively with everyone, or you can play it semi-cooperatively where people have private objectives and public objectives. So sometimes people may have the objective to kill you, and that's what happens. You die. But I will say, I watched when we purchased this game and then it like came to our house, we watched this guy on YouTube. I don't remember the name of the channel, but he was like, yeah, I haven't won this game yet. And I was like, oh my God, this must be really hard. Jessica, we have beaten that game every fucking time we've played it. How terrible. He said that he had to play 6 games. And I was like, how? 6 games and you haven't won? And I've won every single game we've played? How?
I can see who's the John Hurt in that group. Like,
I don't wait. That's a reference, and I didn't get that. But
oh, it was because John Hurt's the one in Alien that gets the alien that bursts out of his chest.
Oh, he's the first person. He's the first person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you get a space cat? What?
Oh my
All
God.
right, I'm in.
It's so fun. It's so fun. So we have only played cooperatively. We haven't played semi-cooperatively. So that may be why we haven't lost one yet. But, I mean, it is a hard game. And my husband did die in one of the campaigns, but I still left. I still won. So it wasn't too bad.
I just stepped over his dead body.
Yeah.
And I just continued.
Well, he still won the game too, technically, because he's on the team. So as long as the team wins,
And I
he
mean,
wins.
like, as long as you win, like, he's attached to you, it's fine.
Exactly. Right. There you go. So that's my 4th. And then number 5 is the game that I just got for Christmas. It's called Azul, and it is gorgeous, and it is beautiful, and I love it. It is where you are a tile maker, and you are trying to create. It's number 1 is very tactile. So like you get to pick up the pieces, and you get to place them however you want. But you're essentially like a tile maker creating a wall or a mosaic on a palace, and you're trying to create the most beautiful mosaic. And so different things give you different points, and it's just really pretty. And you can play it with a lot of people, and it's not super competitive because everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And you always have several different things that are good moves. It's not until the very, very end that everyone is kind of like dicking everyone else over. But it's a lot of strategy. Like you can pick up tiles that someone else really fucking needs and use them for yourself, even though they don't super benefit you. If they hurt the other person a lot, that's kind of cool. But also then you can just kind of play your own way and take the ones that you need and not worry about anyone else. So,
like, I saw this, I think, at the last Gen Con, and I thought about getting it. It was really pretty.
yeah, it's very, very beautiful. So yeah, those are my 5. Those are really good.
I think it also just shows personality-wise. Like, a lot of my games are, like, 2 people can play them.
Yeah.
Because we don't have people come over.
Yeah.
Like,
and I
we
get
don't.
that.
No.
Yeah. Scrabble's fun, though. Joe used to be on this huge Scrabble kick when we first got married. He was like, oh my God.
Good man.
He got this Scrabble. We still have it. He has this Scrabble where you can spin it. So, like, you lay it down flat.
Oh, yeah!
And it's a travel one as well. We're obsessed with taking board games with us wherever we go. Joe will probably bring a board game with him. Probably Nemesis. He'll probably bring Nemesis and play it with everyone. It doesn't take too long. Most of our games take no more than an hour and a half. Joe does play Gloomhaven, though, which is like 4 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
And
that is intense. That's like
I'll never play
what is it,
that.
Arkham
Asylum.
Arkham Horror?
Oh my God, yeah. Arkham Horror. I was going to say Arkham Asylum. Listen to me. Arkham Horror
I almost said Arkham Asylum. I had to stop myself.
Arkham Horror is so long. I did not think that I was going to actually make it. I didn't think I was going to make it. I actually think I tapped out. I think I gave up. Yeah. I think I was like, someone else can take my place. So
I played that once during my undergrad, and it was the longest board game I think I've ever played.
Oh, geez.
And it just, at that point, even longer than Monopoly. And I just, at some point, kind of stopped caring. The entertainment versus longevity of that game. I couldn't do it. I was like, the characters were mentally breaking down. I was mentally breaking down. I was just like, I gotta get out of here, man.
Yeah.
What can I do to make this end?
There's a couple honorable mentions that I wanted to talk about. Number one, Time Stories is fucking cool. It's like an escape room board game. Time Stories. It's like time is an acronym. It's TIME. It means temporal something something something. It's about time, and you're a time agent, and you kind of have to play it like D&D because you have to have the same people play with you each time. So we have 2 of our friends come over because it's a 4-person game. So we have another couple that comes over, and we just play it with them. We just have like a little dinner, and then we play one version of it, and it's like an escape room. You're trying to figure out the clues. You're piecing all the clues together, and it gives you a puzzle, and then you solve the puzzle, and you win the game. It's really cool, but you can never play it again because it's the same game over and over. But yeah, it's just...
That's interesting to see no replay value in a...
You know, I thought about it, and I was like, you can only play this once, but if you ever go to an escape room, you go there, and then each person pays like $25 a piece, and you're doing essentially the same exact thing, except in this board game, you don't have like a time limit, and you're just kind of leisurely going through this thing and learning a story and learning about these characters. And so it's a lot more interesting, and it's only $25 a box. So, and we actually got them on sale for $17 a box. So it's like paying $17 once, or everyone paying $25 a piece to go somewhere and see strangers. Like, I think we'll stay with our little escape room box. Thank you. But yeah. I really like Time Stories. I did want to mention, I wanted to like put some trivia out there. Do you know what the oldest board game is, Jess? How about you make a guess about how long ago the first board game was invented?
You know, this is going to be sad if my game history teacher is listening, because I used to know the answer to this.
You had wait. You had a game history class?
Yeah.
What?
Game on. So there's this professor named Matthew Powers who's like a dope. He's the dopest human being possible.
The dopest human being.
He teaches game history and game design and stuff.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I'm trying to remember.
You can either pick a year, or you can just say like however many years ago you think the first board game was ever made.
Wasn't it Snat?
You so smart. Yeah. Do you remember?
I want to say 300 BC, but I don't think that's right. That doesn't sound right.
It's much farther back than that. It's 3000 BC. 3000.
This is like, I watched a Gus Johnson thing on YouTube where it's like when your friend guesses a number and it's horribly wrong. And it's like, how much did Michael Jackson make in such and such a year? And this one goes, like $90 billion. And he just gets real angry, like, why would you say that? Now the actual answer sounds stupid. Like, that's how I feel every time I guess.
Oh my god. So I just found it really interesting. So technically they found pieces of it as early as 3300 BC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3300. So they found pieces in burial mounds in Egypt. So it's Senet or Senat. Some people pronounce it that way. But Senet.
But that's not the right way.
No. Oh god. So it was painted as well in hieroglyphs and on different walls of tombs and things like that. And actually, it's known as like the first board game that was ever depicted in a painting as well. So it's so crazy because they don't really know what the rules were because it's so old. And so it spanned in Egypt. Senet was played for over 1,000 years, if you can even imagine that. And it was played for over 1,000 years. So I'm sure there was a lot of fucking house rules and shit to just warp the fuck out of this game. And no one knew really how to play this fucking game ever. But it's like it's a 30 grid 30 square grid, and it was 3 columns of 10 squares each. And I don't know how to play it, but apparently it's what backgammon is based on.
That I didn't know. That's cool.
Isn't that interesting?
I don't really like backgammon a lot.
But
so
they don't
I'm
actually
pretty
fucking
sure
know. I think they're just like bullshitting me. I mean, it might not be, you know. But the other game that's considered one of the oldest is also an Egyptian game. It's called Mehen. And so there's 2 other games. One that's like a pre-Columbian game called Ptolemy. It's considered one of the most ancient ones. And then Tob, which is a Middle Eastern game. But interestingly enough, before dice were made, people would notch sticks. They would whittle sticks into, like 3 sides, and then they'd notch one of the sides. And then that would depict like how many spaces you moved. You'd like toss them up in the air.
So you would have loved this. So in the game history class, he has an assignment that's literally just make an ancient board game. So he forces you to use sticks, rocks. He picks up like cicada shells and stuff and all the shit, and you have to like make a board game.
Oh my god.
You can go and find things like pine cones and stuff in the world if you want and use them.
That's fucking cool.
I'd
make pine cones of Denshire. Hey!
I kind of did it. Oh my god.
I did pine cones of Denshire. It was kind of a pun, but not really. It was too obscure. I hope everyone that's listening has watched Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, if you haven't,
go do it before I made that pun. Go back in time before I made that pun. Watch the whole show and then come back and laugh.
But yeah, it was. I didn't like that. I didn't like the thing. But I was a big germaphobe. I was like super Howie Mandel at that time, and I didn't touch.
I don't know who Howie Mandela is. This is so painful for me.
I'm so sorry. He's the he's a bald man that is on the American version of Deal or No Deal, and he doesn't like touching people because he's super germaphobe.
Okay.
So it was a pop culture reference.
It's fine. Thanks for making that reference for me. It was good. It was great.
I'm here whenever you need me.
So I just thought that was really interesting. And apparently Sonnet, when it was made, it was like a thing that you would play to ensure that you would get into a good heaven. The
afterlife.
The afterlife. That's why it was found in like tombs and shit. Because that's fucking crazy. Like, imagine if I were just crushing bitches in Connect 4, they would never go to heaven. I would literally be the arbiter. I would be the Grim Reaper. Oh, man. I would love that.
Yeah.
If only, maybe there's an alternate universe where I am the arbiter of people's
I think that you might have to put in a sweet way after that, because it was like, I would love that. Crushing people and forcing them to go to hell. You know, in a sweet way.
In a nice way. You know, I just want to see them succeed, because if they do succeed, it's just that much better, right? It just tastes that much better, you know.
You're the Bennett Foddy of heaven.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love Bennett Foddy.
I also love Bennett Foddy.
He's pretty great. Unlike that Peter Molyneux son of a bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any other things that you'd like to add regarding this particular topic? I'm so glad that we got to talk about Sonnet.
I feel like that's the perfect ending. It's just, other than that Peter Molyneux son of a bitch.
Yeah.
All right, next time we're going to...
I will say, Sonnet does mean the game of passing. And so we'll pass this episode on for the next one. There we go. Yay! Is that a better segue? I don't know how to segue. I've never known good segues in my life, but it's fine.
Oh, if it determined your afterlife, do you think it should have been called Sin et A? All right. That was a bad one. I was trying to like sin, because it's, but...
Yes, I got it. Ooh, I wonder if that's actually what it means. I mean, it means the game of passing, but
Yeah, it could also have meant something. Probably not.
Yeah, but we're just using our
we're passing it on to the next one. Yeah. So next time we're going to be talking about social media, right?
Yeah, so we're trying to do this thing where y'all get to know a little bit about us in a serious context, which this was not. But next time it will be. And then, we'll go.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
We'll move
just
it on
keep
from
doing what we're doing.
Yeah. We'll do some serious stuff, some funny stuff. But we hope you enjoyed. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks.
If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, we're at the JessPlayin and at BlossomingSun. And
we need to figure out a sign off.
Yeah, well, sing us off.
Sing us off? What? Like a dancing monkey.
I'm so no.
Like, what am
I'm
I supposed
sorry.
to do? Just like goodbye? Like, I can't. That would immediately. No one would want to come back because they'd know they'd have that fear of the fact that I was going to sing at the end of the podcast every single time.
Okay. Well, we could just say goodbye, like normal people.
True.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.